Welcome back to the CSP Elite Baseball Development Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Cressey, and this is our second installment of Pinch Hit Friday. As a quick reminder, these are just filler episodes, 5 to 10 minutes in length, that take place kind of in between seasons or in between episodes of our longer shows. And really, it's just a kind of an opportunity for me to do a brain dump on random topics. And for this second installment, I'm actually going to piggyback on what I talked about last week. The first installment was kind of a conversation surrounding why certain people struggle during Tommy John rehabs. And typically you see failures in Tommy John rehabs. When people skip steps, they try to rush the timelines and effectively try to outsmart physiology. In order to kind of make my point here, I wanted to actually highlight an example that took place. We're going to talk today about what actually does happen when you have setbacks, when things go poorly. What are the different outcomes that can actually happen from those poor processes? In order to highlight it, we're going to talk through an example. Recently saw an athlete. He was about 6 months post-op on a Tommy John surgery, about 2 months into his throwing program. He had not done his rehabilitation with us, and actually came to us because he was having challenges, with his return to throwing progression. He had a collection of different symptoms, really not just the elbow, but kind of above and below it. Feelings of not so much instability, but more just pain, some nerve pain, some more joint in nature. And he just said that the elbow felt weird. He'd have good days and bad days. Sometimes it felt better after he warmed it up. Other times it was just bad from the get-go. And what we actually, did was we referred him back to the surgeon who did his initial procedure for a little bit further workup. And one of the things they found was that he had a significant amount of scar tissue. So I actually got a text from the surgeon after he went back in and did the revision surgery. He said there was scarring over the ulnar nerve distally. He also scarred the medial aspect of the triceps to the medial epicondyle. This forced the bulk of the triceps complex medially, making it easier to subluxate over the medial epicondyle. I released the scar tissue over the ulnar nerve and scarring of the triceps to the medial epicondyle. In all, about 3 millimeters of triceps tissue was removed. So this is a interesting kind of extreme case. Obviously, this athlete laid down a lot of scar tissue in response to being progressed too quickly to the point that it actually created a medial triceps subluxation as he went through flexion extension during the throwing motion. This is an athlete who actually started doing two-handed plyos between 8 and 12 weeks. So it was just too early for him, kind of got ahead of himself. And before the graft was mature, he started stressing it significantly. So we talk about some of the things that can go wrong when you rush rehab timelines. Scar tissue formation is absolutely one of them, but there are a few others that we have to think about as well. Second, you can beat up the joint. In other words, you can have bony complications. You can either lay down more bone because the elbow is unstable and you start to lay down osteophytes or bone spurs. There could be an existing spur that you kind of break off, so you wind up with loose bodies in the joint, or you might wind up with a bunch of swelling, kind of just a really irritated joint that kind of lays down some protection in that capacity, so it doesn't bounce back well between throwing sessions. Additionally, you could have an overuse synergist. So if we look at an ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction as an example, the common flexor tendon is really on the inside of the elbow, right adjacent to that ulnar collateral ligament. So your flexor carpi ulnaris, one of your really big, strong flexor tendons, takes a lot of stress off that ligament. So sometimes when we see people who ramp up too quick and their ligament isn't quite sufficient, the flexor tendon really starts trying to pick up the slack. So you get an overused synergist. So kind of like a muscular compensation for the fact that the ligament isn't doing its job. Additionally, you'll see compensation elsewhere. We see this a lot with lower extremity stuff where someone rolls an ankle and then 2 weeks later their hip starts to act up. They're just trying to find different movement strategies to get the job done. We may see an elbow issue that's rushed that becomes some kind of a shoulder problem or even neck issues just because people aren't moving the right way. So, and then the last one, obviously, and the most concerning would be a re-rupture, right? That graft isn't mature. You step on it too quickly, and all of a sudden you re-tear it. So, big picture, you have several things that can go wrong. You can lay down scar tissue. You can have bony issues at the joint. You can have a synergist that works overtime. You can have compensation elsewhere at an adjacent joint, or certainly you can have a re-rupture, an injury to the tissue that was either reconstructed or repaired in the first place. So these are all things you have to have in the back of your mind as you work through, post-surgical cases, and really other things that probably apply to your everyday rehabilitations that even may not be surgical in the first place. Just be mindful of obviously having good processes so that you can avoid these negative outcomes. This episode is brought to you by AG1, the most comprehensive NSF certified for sport daily nutritional supplement I've ever tried. With so many stressors in life, it can be difficult to maintain effective nutritional habits and give our bodies the nutrients they need to thrive. As a father of 3 young kids and a co-founder of multiple businesses in multiple states on top of still being an avid exerciser, I know that busy schedules can really take their toll on us. Whether it's poor sleep, exercise or life stressors, environmental factors, or simply not eating enough of the right foods, we can often wind up deficient nutritionally. This is where AG1 can really help. It's a game-changing nutritional insurance policy. They simplify the logistics of getting optimal nutrition on a daily basis by giving you just one thing with all the best things. That's why I use it daily, as do several of my family members, and we recommend it to a lot of our top athletes. One scoop of AG1 contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients that work together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet to support energy, focus, digestion, and recovery. And this can all happen for less than $3 per day and without taking multiple products. While most nutritional supplements come to market and stay stagnant, AG1 continues to obsessively improve this one holistic formula based on the latest research, producing over 50 improvements in the last decade alone. They invest in the most absorbable and natural source of each ingredient and go above and beyond in third-party testing to ensure their customers continue to receive the highest quality and best tasting nutrition happen on the planet. Whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, it'll work for you, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar per serving. They put 75 ingredients through the rigorous NSF certification test to come up with a safe formula that's trusted by some of the world's top athletes, including many of our own at Cressey Sports Performance. Right now, AG1 is giving our listeners a special offer of 10 free travel packets with their first purchase. Just head to drinkag1.com/Cressey and claim this special offer. These travel packets are perfect for supporting your immune system, energy, and gut health while you're traveling for games, training, or simply on the go. They can be great counterbalance to the less than ideal on-the-road food options that are out there for a lot of our traveling baseball players. So if you want to bridge the gap between deficient and optimal and give yourself the best chance of getting nutrient diversity, head to drinkag1.com/Cressey to get 10 free travel packets with your first purchase. Again, that's drinkag1.com/Cressey, Cressey. You won't regret it.